"Don't worry, sweetheart," he whispered. My eyes were closed, but I heard that voice, the voice of my wife of 30 years, Michelle, with every fiber of my being. The chemotherapy completely drained him. "Listen to me, Jamal. The last transfer went through this morning. The money was transferred to that consulting account." She paused for a moment, and I heard that disgusting secret chuckle of hers. "Of course, he thinks it's all for treatment expenses. Poor Marcus. The disease is so expensive that he doesn't even have the energy left to question where the money is going." At that moment, a chill worse than the poison in my veins spread through my body. It was the chill of betrayal. My wife was using my cancer, my pain, as an opportunity to build a new life with her young lover. And with my money. He doesn't even have the energy to question it. Huh? Ah, Michelle. You were wrong. My body may have been weakened, but my mind was locked, like an auditor's ledger. And at that moment, I remembered that little digital account in that ledger. That secret account you didn't even know existed. My name is Marcus. I'm 53 years old, and I've been battling this damn disease for 6 months. But before that, for 25 years, I was an independent auditor for small, Black-owned businesses in Atlanta. My whole life was spent finding the numbers people hid, the little lies in budgets, and financial inconsistencies. And my wife was about to become the biggest, most painful lie of my life. Words. That whisper I heard at that moment. Poor Marcus. He doesn't even have the energy to question where the money went. Those words sank into me with a numbness deeper than the coldness of chemotherapy. I don't have the energy to question. Do I? Oh, Michelle. I am Marcus. I have questioned my entire life. That was my job. My job was to find the lies between the numbers, the inflated balance sheets, the fake invoices. For 25 years, I was the man who opened every business plan, every tax return that came to me, and looked inside with the precision of a surgeon. I believed in the truth told by the numbers, not the stories people told me. But when it came to you, when it came to us, I left my auditor's hat at the door. I keep my eyes closed, that familiar sharp smell of the hospital, antiseptic, a faint whiff of food, and that underlying smell of sickness. At that moment, that smell mingled with the smell of our kitchen. 15 years ago. It was right after my grandmother's Big Mama death. Today, in that disgusting hospital gown, I think about the cost of every drop of medicine flowing through my veins. That money Michelle calls treatment costs. My money. My grandmother's money. It was 15 years ago. I was sitting in our kitchen in Atlanta. Rain was beating against the windows. It was a gray day, just like today. Steam rose from my coffee on the table, but I didn't feel the coffee. In front of me was a thick, cream-colored envelope from my grandmother's lawyer. The numbers inside were the breakdown of the inheritance my grandmother had left me, her only grandchild. Big Mama had worked her whole life. Those numbers weren't just money. They were her sweat and tears, the guarantee of my future. As an auditor, my brain immediately started working. I would divide the money into 3 parts. One part would go into low-risk municipal bonds, another into a diversified investment fund, and the rest into a term deposit for emergencies. All of it would be in my name, under my control. This wasn't family money. It was emergency exit money. My profession had taught me this. You always need an emergency exit plan. Just then, Michelle walked into the kitchen. She was still wearing her Saturday morning satin pajamas. She sat down next to me with that worried, loving look on her face. Back then, I believed that look. She placed her hand over my eyes as I stared at the numbers in the account. Marcus, my love, this is wonderful news. Big Mama left you such a beautiful gift. I nodded, my throat tight. Yes, Michelle. This is a huge responsibility. I'll go to the bank tomorrow and open an investment account in my name. I'll create a low-risk, secure portfolio. This will be a guarantee for our son Andre's education and our retirement. Michelle's eyebrows furrowed slightly. She took on that hurt expression. In your own name? Marcus. Your account, my account. Since when have we been so separate? I hesitated. No, honey, not in that sense. It's from my grandmother. A professional instinct. Keeping the money separate is cleaner. Safer. That's my job, you know. She withdrew her hand and placed it on the table. Her tone changed. She was hurt. Professional instinct? Am I one of your clients, Marcus? Are you auditing me too? I'm your wife of 30 years. We're a team. Our future. Our retirement. How does that look in front of this congregation? Why don't we put this money into our existing high-interest joint account? Let it grow together. We'll manage it. Together. I looked at her. The sincerity in that moment. That emphasis on us. The phrase in front of the community. But Michelle, I resisted one last time. What if something happens? What if things go wrong? We can't risk this money. She laughed then. That warm smile of hers that always won me over. What's going to happen, honey? Don't we trust each other? This money is ours. Not yours or mine, but ours. Please, trust me. I'm your wife, not a risk factor. I remember feeling ashamed of myself at that moment. What a cold man I am, I thought. She's saying we, community, and I'm doing a risk analysis on her. She was my wife. She was my son's mother. How could I see her as a potential bad loan? My profession had hardened me. Michelle is right, I said to myself. We are a family. This money belongs to both of us. I have to trust her. Family is about trust. In that moment, I silenced the professional auditor Marcus and allowed the loving husband Marcus to speak. And the next day, I deposited all of that money into our joint account. Now, sitting in this chemo chair, I see what a huge mistake that was. She wasn't a risk factor. She was the risk itself. While I called her my safe harbor, she was the rock that sank my ship. That day, I didn't just give her my grandmother's inheritance. I gave him the power to destroy me. That word, we, what a huge lie it was. That word was the crack in my armor, and he knew it very well. We'll manage it together, he said. Oh yes, together. While I was fighting cancer, he was managing that money together, with that man named Jamal. My grandmother's hard-earned money was now flowing into that young man's luxury cars, expensive trips, and that fake company under the guise of consulting. My analytical mind, my much-touted logic, how blind it was to the foolishness of my heart. That day, in that kitchen, I made the worst investment decision of my life. And now, I'm experiencing the bankruptcy of that investment. Bip, bip, bip. Each bip is an expensive drop flowing into my veins, and each bip brings another financial disaster to mind. Michelle's big idea. That beep sound is so similar to the sounds I made 10 years ago, sitting at the calculator, staying up all night, trying to keep the bailiffs away from our home. It was 10 years ago. Michelle was tired of corporate life. She wanted to start her own business. She had a vision, a PR and brand consulting agency for Black entrepreneurs. She had prepared a fancy vision board. When she brought me a business plan, the alarm bells started ringing inside me. The costs were inflated. There was no market research, just the assumption that our people are hungry for quality service. The cash flow plan was a disaster. The money allocated for office rent and furniture exceeded the first 6 months' revenue. I told her, Michelle, this plan is sinking. Your startup costs are too high relative to your payback period. You don't have enough cash flow to last at least 6 months. I remember how she yelled at me that day. You're at it again. Don't talk to me like an auditor, Marcus. I'm not one of your clients. I'm your wife. Have some imagination. Take some risks. This isn't risk, Michelle, I said calmly. This is suicide. The numbers don't lie. Numbers, she spat. That's all you know. Numbers. I'm trying to create a vision for us, for our family, for our son, more than your boring auditor's salary. Don't you believe in me? And again, that feeling of guilt. I was the man who killed her dreams. Maybe I was too cowardly. Maybe taking a risk was necessary. Maybe my auditor's brain couldn't see the vision. I should support him, I thought. I should stand behind my wife. If he fails, we'll get back up together. But if I don't let him try, he'll blame me. And I let her. Worse, when she got rejected by the bank because her plan was a disaster, I gave her my personal emergency fund, the money I'd been setting aside for years. We took out a second mortgage on our house. "This is my dream, Marcus. Do this for me," she said. I did. It didn't last 6 months. As I predicted, the market didn't care about that vision, the customers didn't come, and that PR agency turned into a nightmare, sitting in the middle of our living room, filled with unpaid bills and fancy, unused office furniture. It was the middle of the night. Every corner of the house was filled with the stress of those unpaid bills. Michelle was sitting in the living room, in the dark. She looked like a wreck. Creditors were calling. The phones wouldn't stop ringing. I sat down next to her. She was crying. "I'm ruined, Marcus. I've ruined US. Everyone at church will be talking about us. Our reputation, we'll be ruined." "Calm down," I said, my voice tired. I had missed my promotion at the office that day because I had worked all night to fix the accounting records of my wife's failing business. "Calm down. I'll take care of it." "How?" she said. "We'll lose our house. Everything." "We won't," I said firmly. "I'll withdraw my savings from the office. I'll cash in part of my retirement fund. I'll borrow from my brother. I'll plug these holes. But on one condition, Michelle. Never again. Ever spend a single dollar without telling me. Never again chase after visions." She looked at me. The gratitude in her eyes at that moment. It seemed so real. "I swear, Marcus. I swear on my mother's grave. I will never put you in this position again. You are our savior. You are my hero." That night, I watched as 25 years of savings, my retirement dreams, and the debt that put my relationship with my brother at risk melted away on paper. But my family was saved, I thought. Our reputation, our standing in the community, was saved. Michelle learned her lesson. It cost us dearly, but it made us stronger. I kept my family together. I saved her. That night, I slept not as an auditor, but as a savior. What a great pride. What a great folly. "You are my hero." Now those words ring in my ears like a mockery. I swear on my mother's grave. What a cheap oath that was. While I was saving his failing business, was he plotting to ruin my life? That night, I saved his reputation. I paid his debts with my own money, my own health, my own future. So what is he doing now? Is he thinking about my reputation? He's using my illness, my most vulnerable moment, for a new vision. This time, his vision is called Jamal. The woman I saved that night is now gambling on my death. I cleaned up his financial wreckage, and now he's dancing on the wreckage of my life. I was his hero, yes, but now I realize he was a devil waiting at my bedside, waiting for my last breath to claim my inheritance. And that failed business, that PR agency, now I understand. That business had only one purpose: to test how stupid I could be, how far I would go for the sake of family and reputation, and I passed that test with flying colors. What a victory for her. The nurse giving me chemotherapy, David, came over to me. Smiling, he said, "How are you, Mr. Marcus?" "You look strong today," David said. "He's my only friend here. He's a fighter too. Sometimes we whisper and confide in each other, but he doesn't know the whole story." His professional, compassionate manner reminded me of my own career, the man I could have been, but wasn't. It was about 7 years ago, 3 years after that failed business disaster. I had everything back on track. Michelle had settled down, taking a regular job at an insurance company. I was creating wonders in my own little auditing office. My experience rescuing those failed loans had sharpened me even more. One day, Mr. Henderson, a partner at a firm in one of those big, shiny glass buildings downtown Atlanta, Buckhead, called me into his office. The room smelled of expensive cigars and polish. Henderson smiled from behind his massive wooden desk. "Marcus," he said, "I've been watching you. The work you've done within our community, the small businesses you've saved, it's brilliant. The board is considering you for a partner position." I froze. Partner. This meant everything. A separate office, bonuses, a seat of power in Atlanta's largest financial center. "Mr. Henderson, this is an honor," I said. "But," Henderson said, "there's something you need to know. This isn't a 9-to-5 job, it's a lifestyle. There will be a lot of travel, New York, Chicago, even London sometimes. Dinners, meetings. It will take a lot of time away from your family." That evening, I flew home. It was the news of my life. At dinner, while our son Andre was doing his homework, I told Michelle. "Michelle, something incredible happened. Henderson offered me a partnership." The smile on Michelle's face froze instantly. She slowly put her glass down on the table. "A partnership? Wow, honey, that's great." But her voice didn't sound great. "But," I said, "there will be a lot of traveling. New York, Chicago. It will take a lot of time away from me." Michelle put her hand on mine. She gave me that worried look. "Marcus, this is great, really. You deserve it more than anyone. But think about it. Just when we've got everything sorted out, just when we're starting to be us. Andre's in high school. The toughest time. He needs you. His dad. I need you." She paused, as if what she was about to say hurt her. "Remember how we pulled through after those bad times. Because you were here. Because you were the backbone of this family. This position, this money, those white-collar companies. They'll take you away from us. They'll leave us alone with that money. We don't need more money, Marcus. We need you. We need our peace. We need our place in our community." I looked at him. The pillar of the family. Our peace. He was so right. What was I chasing? A title? More money? I was already a slave to that money. Michelle was right. After that disaster, the only thing our family needed was peace. It was me being at home, safe. How greedy I was, I thought. My wife tells me she needs me, and I'm dreaming of meetings in Chicago. At that moment, I made my decision. My family was more important than any career. Family. That came before everything else. The next day, I thanked Henderson and turned down the offer. I told him my family needed me. I interpreted that little twinge in my stomach as the peace of doing the right thing. How blind, how stupid. It wasn't peace. He was my leash. He didn't want me to be his partner. He didn't want me to go to New York, to Chicago. Why? Because he couldn't control a powerful Marcus. A Marcus who earned his own money, made his own decisions, traveled, was dangerous. A traveling Marcus could see through his lies. Maybe Jamal was in one of those cities. Maybe he was there even then. He didn't want peace for me. He wanted me to stay small. He wanted me to be manageable, controllable, exploitable. While I thought I was making a sacrifice for my family that day, it turns out I was just making my own executioner's job easier. I thought I was a pole, but it turns out I was a weight tied to his ship. Now that ship is setting sail, and I'm sinking to the bottom of the sea with that weight, that power, that money, that independence I rejected that day. That's what I need most today in this chemotherapy chair. I chose peace, and he took my peace, my money, my health, and my dignity, and laid them at another man's feet. He's in no state to question, Michelle, you're wrong. I'm just getting started with questioning. And Marcus, a 25-year auditor, I find even the smallest fraud on a balance sheet. And you are the biggest fraud on the balance sheet of my life. And I will collect every last penny from you. The days after hearing that whisper of betrayal, those days were like a fog. I was out of the hospital, but my home, that home I loved so much, every corner of which I had decorated with my own hands, was now indistinguishable from a hospital room. This was not my home. It was my prison. And my guard was my wife of 30 years, Michelle. The worst part was the weight of knowing, looking at her face, hearing her fake compassion as she asked, "How are you, my love?" Taking the glass of water she offered me. Every moment was torture. I knew. She knew she had stolen my money. I knew she was stealing from me. But she didn't know. I knew. It was a terrible, silent chess game, and I was a king chained to the bed. Michelle increased her cruelty. Because she didn't know I could hear her whispering, she became reckless. She enjoyed treating me like an idiot, seeing me as a living dead person. The first blow came under the guise of saving money. My illness, cancer, is a disease that eats away not only at the body, but also at the wallet. My doctor had recommended a special, expensive imported cream for my skin, burned by chemotherapy. That cream was the only thing that eased the burning even a little. One morning, Michelle came in with a pharmacy bag in her hand. "Marcus," she said cheerfully, "I got you that cream." What she pulled out of the bag wasn't the cream the doctor had prescribed. It was a sticky-looking tube of a cheap local brand. I frowned. As best I could, I said, "Michelle, this isn't that cream." She shrugged. She put on that understanding wife mask. "I know, honey. But I asked the pharmacist, and he said the ingredients are almost the same, and it's a quarter of the price." She scrunched up her face, as if she were very unhappy about the situation too. "Honey, we're under incredible financial pressure right now. Your treatment, hospital bills, I have to count every penny. You know we're putting everything towards your health. Almost the same. I have to account for every penny." I looked at his face. At that moment, I looked at that cheap tube. My grandmother's inheritance, my 25 years of hard work, my emergency funds, all flowing into that man Jamal's luxury consulting company, while my wife was deeming a cream that cost a quarter of the price suitable for me, and she was using my treatment as an excuse. "Sure," I whispered. "Sure. Whatever you want." The auditor inside me was screaming, "You liar! You fraud! Give me the breakdown of that financial strain. Give it to me so I can show you line by line where that money is actually going." But I stayed silent, because I was weak, because my proof was nothing more than a whisper I heard at that moment. I took that cream, and that night, I felt much more than the burning on my skin. This was the sting of humiliation. The second blow came just a few days later, and this one was much more ruthless. Michelle was on the phone during one of the rare times I entered my study. She didn't panic when she saw me. Instead, a disgusting smile spread across her face. Yes, Jamal. You're right. We need to transfer that fund there immediately," she said. Then she paused and looked at me. No, you're not disturbing me. Marcus is here too, resting." "Oh, can you believe it, Jamal? I know Marcus will thank you very much too." I froze. His name. He was saying that man's name right there beside me, on the phone, as casually as if they were discussing business. He hung up the phone. Marcus," he said, as if it were the most normal conversation in the world. "I forgot to mention it to you. During this process, bills, insurance, investments, it's so complicated. I started working with a financial advisor, Jamal. I forgot his last name now. An incredibly smart man, just like us. I mean, he specializes in financial planning for families with medical expenses." He was looking me straight in the eye. He wasn't lying. He was hitting me with the truth, in its most brutal form. "He's such a sweet guy," she continued. "He took all that complicated paperwork off my hands. He's putting together an amazing plan for us. He's showing us how to use our money most efficiently, how to manage it without compromising your treatment. Manage the money, my money. He wants to meet you too," she said with that fake smile. "When you have your energy back. He's very moved by your story." My stomach churned, and it wasn't from the chemo. My wife was trying to bring that man, her lover, the man who helped steal my money, into my home, as a financial advisor. She wanted to introduce him to me. He was moved by my story. At that moment, I realized this wasn't just theft. It was psychological torture. It was saying, look, I've taken your place, I'm taking your money, I'm sleeping with your wife, and you're so helpless that even if I say it to your face, you can't do anything about it. At that moment, I wanted to bury my face in my pillow and scream, I don't want to meet you. Give me my money back. Get out of my life. But I just shook my head. Right now, I'm too tired, Michelle. Maybe another time. When she left the room, I dug my nails into my palms. I felt them bleed. That physical pain was nothing compared to the humiliation in my soul. The third step of the abuse was to cut me off from the world, to isolate me. Between my chemotherapy sessions, there were days, rare days, when I felt okay. On those days, all I wanted was to see my brother, David, or my closest friend, Reggie, or that wonderful man I met at the clinic. A cup of coffee, a little chat, a crumb of normal life. One afternoon, David called. Marcus, my brother, I'm on my way, bringing you some of that delicious soup my mom makes. I'll be there in 15 minutes. I was so happy I could have cried. Come, I said. Please, come. Just then, Michelle called from the kitchen. Who are you talking to? David, I said. He's bringing soup. Michelle rushed over, snatched the phone from my hand. That worried wife look was back on her face. David, dear, she said into the phone, in her most compassionate voice. How thoughtful of you. But Marcus isn't feeling well at all today. He called the doctor, and the risk of infection is very high. This week, we absolutely cannot have visitors. Believe me, it's for his own good. I know how much you love him, but please, don't come this time. I'm taking care of him. I'm watching him like a hawk. She hung up the phone. She turned to me. What did you do? I whispered. I'm fine, Michelle. I want to see David. No, you're not fine, Marcus, she said sternly. Her voice was no longer kind. You don't look well. You're weak. When David comes, you'll talk, you'll get tired, and then your fever will come back. There's no need. I know what you need. Peace. Quiet. No one came that day, or the next. I texted Reggie. Can you come? He replied. I called Michelle. She said your condition has worsened. I don't want to bother you, buddy. Stay strong. I'll call. He was protecting me from myself. He was isolating me from my loved ones. Why? Because he was afraid of what I might say. Because he was afraid that in a moment of weakness, I might whisper something to David or Reggie. Michelle was robbing me. She had locked me in a cage, and she held the key to that cage. She now owned not just my money, but my time, my relationships, my voice. I was a complete prisoner in that house. The depths of despair came that night, when I faced my physical helplessness. Michelle had gone to a business dinner. I knew she was with Jamal. I was alone in the house. My mind, that controlling mind of mine, was racing. I had to find proof. I had to see the numbers. I crawled out of bed. I made my way down the hallway, clinging to the walls. My target was Michelle's study. That room, which used to be my study too. Now it was her castle. I opened the door. The room was cold. The laptop on her desk was open, the screensaver. It had a photo of the two of them. They were on the beach, smiling. Jamal, young, muscular. Michelle looked at him the way she hadn't looked at me in 20 years. I staggered with the pain in my stomach. Focus, Marcus, focus! I walked to the desk. The drawers were locked. Damn it. I turned back to the laptop. The password. What could it be? My birth date? Our son's number. Jamal. I didn't know his birth date. My hands were shaking, a side effect of the chemotherapy. I couldn't type the numbers. My head was spinning. I was drenched in sweat. I looked helplessly at the papers on the desk. Bills, but only for electricity, water. Everything important was digital. My eye caught a small metal safe under the desk. He must have bought it recently. I bent down, my knees buckled, and I fell. I collapsed onto the cold floor, landing on my side. I tried to get up. My legs wouldn't carry me. They were just a trembling mass of flesh. Marcus. The auditor who stirred up storms in that congregation, who saved small businesses, who stood up to the most arrogant men, in my wife's office, on the floor of my own home. I was helpless, unable to open a drawer, unable to stand up. There, on that cold floor, under the light of that smiling photograph, I lay, and I cried. I sobbed. Despair in that moment was stronger than the poison in my veins. It's over, I thought. I lost. He won. He defeated me. I am dying, and he is building a new life on my corpse. That night, I gave up. After that night spent at the bottom of despair, a void settled inside me. For a few weeks, I lived only as a shell. I went to chemotherapy, took my pills, endured Michelle's fake compassion. She had seen me give up. She had seen the light go out in my eyes. And it had reassured her. I was no longer dangerous. I was now poor Marcus. We had taken a short break from my treatment. My body was starting to recover a little. That morning, as I sat on the couch in the living room, Michelle walked in. She was wearing an expensive new dress. Even her scent was new. There was an excitement on her face that I hadn't seen in a long time. She was holding a shiny, cream-colored, luxurious invitation in her hand. "Marcus, my love," she said, her voice full of excitement. "I have incredible news for you. You'll see how our life has turned into a miracle." She handed me the invitation. My hands were still trembling as I took it. The paper was thick and textured. It was written in gold leaf letters. Second Chance Foundation, grasping life again. Gala night and donation launch. "What is this?" I whispered. Michelle's eyes were shining. "That wonderful man I told you about, Jamal. Turns out he's not just a financial genius. He's an angel. He was so moved by what we went through. I mean, by your struggle. He started a foundation to help families fighting cancer, the Second Chance Foundation. Great name, isn't it?" I froze. With my money. I opened the invitation. Inside was a professionally taken smiling photo of Jamal. Underneath it said, "Jamal Peterson, founder and CEO." Look, Michelle said excitedly. "Look at the committee list." She pointed to a name at the bottom of the invitation. "Michelle Williams, financial supporter and honorary vice president." "See," she said proudly. "All those tough financial decisions, all bore fruit. All that, our savings, grandma's inheritance. It's all going to a good place. We're giving what we took from you, to people like you." It was as if a knife had been plunged into my throat. I couldn't breathe. "We're giving what we took from you, to people like you." This was a confession. But the real blow didn't come then. My eye caught the logo on the invitation's cover. A gold-leafed, stylized Sankofa bird. A bird looking back. I recognized that bird. That bird was my bird. 20 years ago, in college, it was a doodle I drew in a design class. It represented learning from the past, my own roots. Michelle loved that drawing so much that she framed it and kept it on her desk for years. Until it disappeared during that sunk PR job. It wasn't lost. It was stolen. My money, my grandmother's name, and now, my soul, my signature. A hoarse voice came out of my throat. Michelle misunderstood. I know, it's very emotional," she said, patting my shoulder. "Wait, it's not over." She turned the invitation over, the sponsors list, and at the top, the name of that small, symbolic family company my grandmother had founded, kept afloat by that inheritance money. Williams and Family Fund. Williams, my last name. "But I saved the best news for last," Michelle said, looking into my eyes. That fake compassion had now given way to a kind of condescending pity. "Jamal, that angel, he wants you to be there so badly. Marcus," he said, "should be the guest of honor tonight. His struggle has inspired us all." Can you imagine, honey? You were going to be the guest of honor tonight." He paused. He looked at my face, my pale skin, my unkempt hair. "Of course," he said, lowering his voice. "You can't come like this. That crowd, those lights, it would be too exhausting. You'd collapse. But don't worry." He put his hand on my shoulder. "I'll be there in your place. I'll give a speech on your behalf. I'll tell everyone what a generous, inspiring man you are. On your behalf, I'll accept those applause." And that moment, that last sentence, "I'll accept those applause on your behalf." That emptiness inside me, that hopelessness, that fog, suddenly ignited, like the door of an oven opening. A scorching rage burst out of me. Michelle smiled, kissed my forehead. "Rest now, my love. I need to get ready for the big night." She left the room. The scent of her expensive new perfume lingered in the air. I didn't move for minutes. I fixed my eyes on that. My logo on the invitation. Guest of honor. Inspiration. "I will speak on your behalf. You cannot come like this. You thought I was dead, didn't you? You buried me long ago. You buried Inspector Marcus, clever Marcus, powerful Marcus, and you wrote poor sick Marcus on the grave. And now, on my grave, with my money, in my grandmother's name, and with my spirit's design, you're throwing a party. And I can't go as the guest of honor in this state." No tears fell from my eyes. Everything inside me had dried up, replaced by something as hard as steel. "You were wrong, Michelle. I'm not dead. I'm not weak. I was just gathering information. While you're at that party telling my inspiring story, I'll be writing my own. You're the financial backer, are you? Fine. I'm Marcus. I'm a 25-year auditor. I'm the source of that money. You learn to collect, steal, and transfer numbers. But I see inside those numbers. I track that money. I cut open that Second Chance Foundation account, that consulting company, like a surgeon. I'm going to that party, Michelle. Oh yes, I'm going. But not as your guest of honor, not as your source of inspiration. I'm coming to that party as an auditor. You were preoccupied with my treatment. You were preoccupied with my physical weakness. But there was one thing you forgot. I was preoccupied with you too. That's my rainy day account. That little secret digital crypto wallet you don't even know exists. That you'll never find. That wallet will be my rebirth. The time for analysis is over, Michelle. The time for collection has begun. And the interest will be higher than you could ever imagine. That searing anger I felt the moment I saw that invitation. I didn't sleep that night. That anger kept me going. It filled me with an energy stronger than the chemical poison in my body, stronger than the cancer. I will accept the applause on your behalf. That sentence echoed over and over in my mind. But when morning came, when that first gray light seeped into my bedroom, the fire of rage had died down a little, leaving only a bitter residue. And with that residue came that familiar, disgusting voice. Hesitation. There, curled up in my pillow, staring at the ceiling, the old Marcus inside me, the sacrificial Marcus, whispered, "What am I doing?" "No matter what," said the voice inside me. "She's my wife of 30 years. She's the mother of my son, Andre. She's his hero. What am I doing now? Am I going to be the man who destroys a home? Am I going to destroy my own home? What if I'm wrong?" I thought. What if that Jamal guy, what if he really did deceive Michelle? What if my wife, yes, made a mistake, a stupid mistake, but her intentions weren't that bad? Maybe she really tried to make use of that money? Maybe that foundation really is for a good cause? I'm preparing to destroy her. I can't do that. She's my flesh and blood. My eyes fell on that silver frame on the nightstand, our son Andre's high school graduation. Michelle looked so proud in that photo. She had our son under her arm, and they were both smiling at me. I remembered that moment. Michelle had leaned over to my ear that night and said, "We're so lucky, Marcus. What a beautiful family we've created," in that voice. There was no lie. The warmth of that moment, the pride of that moment was so real. My eyes filled with tears. The woman in that photo was the woman I knew. She was the woman I loved. That woman, I said to myself, that woman couldn't be so cruel. For a moment, I softened. Maybe I should talk. Maybe I should say, I know? Maybe she would confess everything and ask for forgiveness? Right at that moment of mercy, just as I was thinking, maybe there is a way. Michelle's voice rang in my ears again, but this time, it wasn't the warm voice from graduation night. It was the whisper from the chemotherapy chair when she thought I was asleep. Poor Marcus. He doesn't even have the strength to question where the money went. And then, the last sentence on that invitation. You can't come like this. I clenched my fists. The woman in that photo was dead. That new, cold-hearted, thieving woman had killed her. She had even tarnished that beautiful memory of my son's graduation. She had stolen that memory from me too. Number. She wouldn't apologize. She was so sure that I was helpless in this state that I couldn't question her. That she said it to my face as if mocking me. That foundation was a monument built on my grandmother's legacy, on my life. And on that monument, my name would be listed as a pitiful source of inspiration. Mercy evaporated. Only ice-cold determination remained. I couldn't save the woman in that photo, but I could save the Marcus in that photo, that proud father. I could save him, and I would do it by destroying that woman. I had to make a plan, not a fantastic or exaggerated plan, a legal, financial, and ruthlessly realistic plan. Problem 1, money. Michelle controlled all the accounts. She was funneling my grandmother's inheritance, our joint savings, everything, into that black hole called the Second Chance Foundation. I needed capital, and then it hit me, my emergency exit plan. Years ago, after the big financial crisis of 2008, I learned something as an auditor. The system isn't always as solid as you trust it to be. Banks could fail, stock markets could crash. While Michelle was chasing her visions, I was secretly, completely unbeknownst to her, building my own rainy day fund. But I didn't put it in the bank. That boring auditor, had invested in something that was just starting to be heard of back then. Crypto. A digital wallet. This wasn't speculation. It was insurance. That couldn't be traced, couldn't be frozen, that Michelle would never find. The key to that digital wallet was in a physical hardware wallet, a device that looked like a small USB drive. And I had hidden that device in a place Michelle would never, ever look. A dusty box containing my old tax returns and 15 years of boring customer records. That box was in the attic, labeled Marcus's boring papers. That day, while Michelle was at a business dinner, that is, at that gala event with Jamal, I made the most challenging climb of my life. I went up to the attic. I found that box, and inside, that little device was sitting there. I couldn't do it alone. I needed someone reliable outside to help me. Only one person came to mind. Reggie. That wonderful man I met at the clinic. He was also fighting cancer, but he was more on his feet than I was. And most importantly, he was like me, a retired IT specialist. He understood these digital matters. Despite Michelle's efforts to isolate me, I sent Reggie a secret message that looked like it had been accidentally sent. I reached him on an old disposable phone from a number belonging to an old friend. I wrote, "Urgent." The next day, during that awful chemotherapy session, Michelle insisted I absolutely have to go for your health. Reggie was there. When Michelle dropped me off at the door, she didn't even bother coming inside anymore. Reggie sat down next to me. I whispered, "Reggie, I'm in trouble. My wife is robbing me." Reggie's eyes narrowed. He was a man who loved gossip, but loved justice even more. I gave him that digital wallet. "You need to convert this into cash for me, secretly, open a new account, and with that money, we need to hire someone." 2 days later, part of that crypto asset was transferred to the new clean account Reggie found. I had capital. Now, I needed proof. That was my job, finding proof. We hired the best forensic accountant in Atlanta, someone Reggie knew. It was expensive, but my crypto covered it. I gave him one task: Second Chance Foundation, holding on to life again. I want this foundation's cash flow, I told him on the phone, my voice as cold and clear as an auditor's. Look into people named Michelle Williams and Jamal Peterson. Trace every penny transferred from the Williams family fund to this foundation, and find out where that foundation spent the money. Luxury cars, properties, whatever. And I added, also, investigate this logo. I sent him the photo of my Sankofa bird from the invitation. Find its copyright, its origin. The final step of the plan was already clear. Michelle and Jamal had prepared that gala night with their own hands. They had printed their own death warrants and decorated them with gold leaf. That night, all the city's dignitaries, donors, journalists, and church leaders would be there. Michelle would take the stage as honorary vice president and accept the applause on behalf of her poor, inspirational husband. I had a surprise for her. When the forensic accountant's report arrived, Reggie and I reviewed it together. What I saw made me sick, but it steeled my heart. My grandmother's inheritance, my savings, all had been transferred to that foundation account, and from there, to a shell consulting company opened in the name of Jamal Peterson. That foundation had been used to buy a luxury beachfront apartment in Miami. The money Michelle called medical expenses had become the decoration for her lover's new home. I'm ready, I told Reggie. He held the luxurious invitation for the gala night in his hand. What are we going to do? Storm the place and yell? I smiled. It was the first real smile on my face in months, but there was no warmth behind it. Nobody, I said. I'm an auditor. I don't yell. I make presentations. The gala was exactly 1 week away. I whispered to Michelle, I'm so excited for that night, honey. I'm so proud of you. Maybe I can come too. Her face froze for a moment. Then that fake compassion returned. Oh, Marcus. I wish I could, but, your health. No, I said. I'll come. I'll sit at the back table. I just want to watch you speak. I want to feel like I inspired you. He was trapped. The idea of me sitting there at the back table, weak and helpless, applauding him, flattered his ego so much that he couldn't say no. All right, honey, he said. Whatever you want. But don't overexert yourself. I won't, I said, because that night I would place all the burden, all the shame, all the disgrace on his shoulders. The gala night. When I arrived at the hotel, my legs were shaking as I handed the valet the car keys. But it wasn't from illness. It was anger. It was the adrenaline of a hunter closing in on its prey. I went inside. Reggie, as promised, was waiting for me at the lobby bar with his donor ID. He looked powerful. He was also wearing his wig, dressed in his finest suit. He smiled at me. Are you ready, buddy? I'm ready, I said. We walked together to the ballroom doors. When they opened, my stomach clenched. It was like a dream. Blue and gold lights, crystal chandeliers, Atlanta's richest, most respectable people clinking champagne glasses. And everywhere was my logo. That Sankofa bird, on the napkins, on the giant screens, on that huge banner behind the stage. Second Chance Foundation, getting a grip on life again. Michelle was right at the entrance. Jamal was on her arm. That man, he was even more dazzling than in the photo. That expensive suit he was wearing had been bought with my grandmother's inheritance. His smile fed off my pain. Michelle saw me. For a moment, just a split second, pure horror crossed her face. You can't come in like that, her husband had said, and now he was standing right in front of her. But that moment passed. Michelle was professional. She immediately put on that concerned, loving spouse mask. She left Jamal and hurried over to me. Marcus, my love, you're here! Her voice was filled with fake joy. But you shouldn't be standing. You look so tired. Come, I've reserved a quiet table for you at the back. She tried to take my arm. I pushed her hand away. not harshly, but firmly. "I'm fine, Michelle. I've never felt stronger." Her eyes narrowed. She realized something was wrong, but it was too late. There was no turning back. This is my friend, Reggie," I said. "He's a donor too, and he's a fighter." Michelle gave Reggie a perfunctory nod and turned back to introduce Jamal. "Jamal, honey, look, my husband Marcus was able to join us." Jamal approached me. He had that condescending pity on his face. "Ah, Mr. Marcus," he said, his voice thin with pity. "What an honor to meet you. Your story, it's so inspiring. This foundation is built on your struggle." I looked into his eyes. "I know," I said. "I know exactly how fundamental it is." The gala began. Reggie and I sat at a table near the front. Michelle didn't want us there, but Reggie insisted. I made a big donation. I want to see the stage. Food was eaten. Fake conversations were had. And then, the moment came. The host of the evening took the stage. And now, to hear the vision behind this wonderful foundation, please welcome the founder and CEO of the Second Chance Foundation, Jamal Peterson. And the backbone of the foundation, Honorary Vice President, Michelle Williams. Applause erupted. The two of them walked onto the stage, hand in hand. Jamal gave a tear-jerking, completely fake speech about helping cancer patients. Then he handed the microphone to Michelle. Michelle cleared her throat. She wore that fake, sad expression on her face. "Thank you," she said. "Being here tonight at this rebirth gala, it has a very personal meaning for me. Because I live this struggle every day, in my own home. My dear husband, my inspiration, Marcus." She paused, as if she were about to cry. Everyone in the room looked at her sympathetically. "He is such a strong man, and tonight, he is here too. Despite his frail body, he came to support us." She smiled at me. It was that condescending, "Look, I'm getting you applause" smile. "All this wealth," she continued, "all this money, it's meaningless. The only thing that matters is health. And we, my husband and I, have dedicated our entire fortune in the Williams Family Fund to those who suffer as we do, to those seeking a chance at rebirth." The applause, it was deafening. Michelle raised her hand. "And now, on behalf of my dear husband Marcus?" "No." My voice, even without a microphone, echoed like a knife in that silent hall. Michelle froze. "What did you say, honey?" I stood up. Reggie took the small USB drive out of his coat pocket and walked over to the technical crew standing at the side table. "There's a change in the presentation," he said calmly. Michelle panicked. "Marcus, please sit down. You're tired." "No, Michelle," I said, walking to the front of the stage. All eyes were on me. "I won't sit down. Because even like this, I have things to say." At that moment, on the giant screen behind me, the smiling photos of Michelle and Jamal disappeared. In their place, a bank statement appeared. A murmur rose in the hall. "Just now," I said, my voice now trembling, but with anger, "my wife Michelle said she donated the Williams Family Fund to a foundation." Correct. The screen changed. A statement of the money transferred from the Williams Family Fund to the Second Chance Foundation account. The entire amount. My grandmother's inheritance. "This is my money," I said. "And now, let's see where that money went. Because I'm an auditor, my job is to follow the money." Reggie signaled to the technician. The screen changed. $1 million transfer from the Second Chance Foundation account to a shell company called JP Consulting, Jamal Peterson, Miami. Michelle's face turned pale. This is a mistake. This is fake." "Fake?" I said. "Then is this fake too?" The screen changed. Title deeds for that luxury beachfront apartment in Miami's most exclusive neighborhood, purchased in the name of JP Consulting. The whispers in the room gave way to shocked silence. Jamal lunged at the microphone. "This is slander. This sick man." "Sick man what?" I shouted. All that pent-up pain exploded in that moment. "Are you looking at the house my wife bought for her lover with my money? The same wife who told me I had to count every penny for my cancer treatment? Is this what she meant by treatment expenses? And the final blow. But this is what I'm most proud of, I said, my voice calming again. This logo of yours. The screen changed. The original sketch of that Sankofa bird I drew 20 years ago. My signature and the date underneath. Next to it, a freshly dated copyright certificate, newly acquired in my name. You stole my money, I said, looking at Jamal and Michelle. You stole my grandmother's inheritance. You stole my wife. But worst of all, you stole my soul, my signature, and you made it the face of this fake Second Chance Foundation. At that moment, I felt something inside me snap, but it wasn't pain. It was a chain breaking. Poor Marcus's last tie had been severed. I was free. Michelle stammered. Marcus, please, let's talk at home. No, Michelle, I said. There's nothing left to talk about. Just collection. Those respectable people in the hall. Those donors. Church elders. Horror and disgust were written on their faces. A few grabbed their phones, probably calling the police. Jamal tried to escape from behind the stage, but two security guards held by Reggie stopped him. Michelle, she just stood there, in her expensive dress. She looked tiny beneath the evidence of her own guilt on that giant screen. She would have accepted the applause, right? But at that moment, she could only hear me breathing. I am Marcus, the auditor, and I had balanced the books. After that night, it all came unraveling like a sock. The forensic accountant's report wasn't a case file, it was a conviction. Michelle and Jamal were tried for embezzlement, fraud, misuse of foundation funds, and a whole lot more. That Second Chance Foundation bubble burst the moment I popped it. That beachfront condo in Miami was sold by court order. My grandmother's inheritance, yes, I lost part of it. Lawyers, courts, that money melted away in the process. But what about Michelle? She lost everything. Her reputation, her job, her freedom. That woman who chased after vision, who used my money to save her reputation. Now she's in a federal prison, wearing an orange jumpsuit, learning every day what it means to have no reputation. So is Jamal. And me, cancer. Ah, that damn thing, it's still there. But that night, on that stage, I conquered something else. I conquered fear. I conquered despair. My treatment is over. I cried when my doctor used the word remission. But this time, it was tears of joy. I'm Marcus. I'm 54 years old. I've experienced the greatest betrayal of my life, fought the worst disease, and hit rock bottom. But I'm still here, and for the first time in my life, my balance sheet is in perfect equilibrium. I've been reborn.